Hey everybody, it's me again, Adam Chapnick with Security Token Academy, and I'm here today with friend of the show, Andy Kyzyk of OTC Markets. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Hey Adam, good to be here.
All right, so you guys are special in that you are one of the few guys in the sort of traditional space who is actually innovating. You guys are doing interesting stuff. Tell us about what you're up to.
It's so interesting. What's going on in OTC markets in the last 10 years is, first of all, we're registered ATS. That's a fancy way for saying alternative trading system.
Right.
It's regulated by the SEC. So our trading platform to trade securities is great. We trade 10,000 securities, global securities, and we're quite innovative in trading a diverse group of assets. And we basically not only have legal securities traded by regulated broker-dealers, but we also have a compliance and disclosure process for companies, because the best practices are about getting good online data, verification of that data, so you can analyze, value, and trade an asset.
Right, so now how did you guys separate yourself in terms of that access to data compared to what's happening in the ICO space and the STO space?
Well,
what do you guys do?
Good information has been verified going back 200 years, from the New York Stock Exchange, man. Like, you need to have current information. When a new company launches, you have initial information. Then you have to have ongoing information to keep up with the trends, to make sure that they're complying with what they said you did. Because if I'm investing in a company, I want to know how they're going along. It's like my kid. My son goes to school, right? And when he gets grades, I monitor his grades quarter to quarter, because if he's not doing it, he's not going to get the car or whatever. And the context here is that when you're investing money, the stakes are different, Right. And the innovative side is that we really service a community. We trade 10,000 securities, and we've seen everything. Good information can't eradicate, well, let me put it this way, you can't eradicate fraud in the market, but what you can do is put speed bumps and guardrails in its way. So what you do is you classify that and raise the bar. You have personal information, you have third-party verification of information. When companies do things like promotion, and they don't say that they pay for it, you really put a flag on them and say you need to clean these things up. So the best practices have evolved over many years. Now we're simply applying that to a different digital asset class.
So you guys actually jumped in and got involved with Bitcoin in an innovative way also. You don't let people trade Bitcoin, but what do you do instead? So
because we don't trade the crypto, we basically had worked with the group to create a securitization. So we have a security that represents an exposure to the asset. So Grayscale created a fund. The fund in 2013 had private investors, and in 2015 they wanted to find a way to make that publicly available to the retail market, because there's a huge appetite for this new digital asset, and they created a securitization of that. So in the process, they had to get approval from FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, to get permission to get a filing for a ticker to make it consumable in today's market, so anybody can buy it through any broker of their choice and deposit it in their E-Trade, Scottrade, TD account. And when they did that, what happened is that you have exposure. So the fund is not much different than if you want to buy gold, you can buy a brick of gold at market price, or you can get the ETF, which is the exchange traded fund, to buy exposure to that without having to take the gold. You buy it at a fraction of the cost. So it gives you the benefit, it's tagged to that asset, and it's an investment, because you believe that the perception is that they will execute the strategy, and that the price of that will go up and you will make a profit.
And you don't have to deal with a lot of the confusing difficulties of owning the actual Bitcoin or the gold in your example.
That's what's wonderful.
Right, yeah,
we're going to start seeing a lot of assets coming to us in a way where they're securitized, and you don't have to find it, you don't have to hold it, you don't have to secure it. The fund has created a way to do that, and you're getting a fractional interest, so it gives you as much as you can handle, and the price of that is very consumable, digestible. Bitcoin is a very expensive asset. You want to go out, the market today is like $9,000, $91.44, $9200.
Today,
right?
yes.
It's a big chunk of change. And then, the unit is trading around $15, so you can get exposure to that asset. And I'm just talking about the asset. I'm not talking about, I'm not promoting the actual security. The process is what I'm talking about. So we're seeing innovative strategies to do that. And they report to investors and post their disclosure. And what's cool about OTC Markets is that we're connected to every single broker-dealer in the market. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, right? And you kind of look at it, and all these brokers price the security with bids and offers to represent interest. We have 23 market makers, broker-dealers, that are quoting the security. And you have representation from Citadel and Cantor and E-Trade and some of the largest market makers in the world. In the crypto asset space, it's still fragmented. They're independent islands that aren't necessarily connected. And the best practices have to really start coming together, and they are. Yeah. We're in the infancy of that, and we will continue to trade legal securities through regulated broker-dealers.
Do you think in, let's say, the next 12 to 18 months, the security token might find its way through the regulatory journey to a place where you guys might consider listing those things?
I hope so. I think that what happens is that, well, I shouldn't speak out of turn, but I think what we're going to see is we're going to start seeing an innovation in the product to bring it to the public market in a different way. And that's through the securitization process. So in my discussions with a lot of the participants at this conference, I was talking to people who said, wow, we want to mine various assets, or we want to own and create a portfolio of multiple currencies. And can we create a fund, and can that fund have exposure, creating a security to give an investor that? If you think about what's happened, you have mutual funds and different things. So I can buy the basket and get exposure, right? And I think those things require legal setup, investment banking setup, and there's a lot of good participants in the market to do that. Yeah. And I think that we're going to have diversified assets coming to our market, and there will be ways to trade them in a way that's traditionally the meaning of it, but it's all based on corporate governance, it's quality of data, right? It's things like know your customer, anti-money laundering, is the guy who's selling me the asset, does he have the right to sell it, can I deposit it, can I hold it? You know, we heard yesterday that there was one coin that got hacked and $240 million was lost. Can you wake up the next day saying, oh my God, where's that, like, how did that happen, right? Yeah, no. So where was the breakdown in that? So, you know, regulation has evolved with the Securities Commission over 80 years to protect the public interest and prevent fraud. So there's no defense against fraud, but you can't stop it. That's why you want to have good verifiable assets and create structures that pushes the bad apples to one place, which has a different risk model. And we shut down companies, we flag them.
Take away their car keys.
In a way, no. Right? Yeah, no, there's so much happening right now. It's a really an infancy stage of creating a new asset class.
Great, okay, so here's the most important question of the day. You can sit and take a moment to prepare because this is really, really key. Who is your favorite superhero?
Clark Kent.
Oh, Clark Kent.
Superman.
Not so, but the Clark Kent incarnation. Like you like him in his disguise.
Well, I'm human, you know.
Yeah. But you like to be able to bring the pain if you need to, but nobody needs to know it.
You know, leap tall buildings in a single bound.
I like it.
And I think what happens is the innovation we're seeing in the market. You know, we're seeing a lot of participants that we're changing the way things have been done, and we're really pushing because the markets have changed and regulation. The pain of being public in the traditional way of being fully reporting and disclosing is an incredible cost to the individual company. And our approach at OTC Markets is more of a seasoned approach. You have a low cost and low complexity process. You can be in our premium issuer markets and be part of the established public market. So your prices can be there. It's like when you go to the gym, January 1st, you go to the gym, there's like 100 people, right? And what happens is they sign up and you season and train. If you don't go to the gym, nothing happens. You go to the gym, you work out, and you season into that. And at some point, you can run the marathon. Or the way I like to see it is that we prepare markets so companies can graduate to a better market if they see that's the next step for them in their growth cycle. So we provide a good information structure, good verifiable information, access to broker-dealers, and a less costly way to do it. So
there it is.
It's great.
OTC Markets.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Adam.
Andy, for being with us.
Thanks, man.